Once upon a time, there was a village of happy people. That was until the rats, the mice came, the mouses. So they decided to call upon the pear piper, piped piper, to help uh, get the mice out of the city by blowing on his whistle, his pipe. And so they offered him money. Uh, and he made all the mice go away. And it was very successful. He made them go up to a lake and he threw them in. And then he wanted his money, but the villagers said no. So, in response, the piper took all of their children, and he took them to the same place as the mice, and he killed them. Or just made them disappear, but it's the same thing. So, while this story might seem like a classic revenge story on the surface level, actually, there's a huge illusion in here which people don't really talk about. That is, that you should pay musicians more money than they deserve. Because, obviously, musicians in the future are gonna have revenge on us for like these new streaming platforms where they barely get paid. So, as a reminder to anybody who owns a streaming service or anyone who uses a streaming service, artists are not getting paid and they will come after you someday, I guess. I mean, just look at this story from centuries ago. History just repeats itself, guys. Let's be honest. Okay, so once upon a time, there lived a man so beautiful that everyone adored him, but he didn't know how beautiful he looked, so it was weird. But this one day, this goddess named Nemesis took him to a pool of water and showed him how beautiful he looked. And he fell in love with it. And he ran off into the wilderness and basically died because he was so handsome or beautiful or whatever you want to call it, which I think is pretty weird. But that's how the story goes. Alright, for this one, I couldn't find anything funny to make fun of. Except that maybe the author was like ugly and he didn't like beautiful people, so he made one story about killing a beautiful person. But other than that, the illusion is just be thankful for what you have. Don't be too bad or too good, because then someday the goddess Nemesis will come and have revenge on you, which sounds pretty bad. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention is that the Piper is actually used in Shrek Forever After, or like one of those Shrek sequels, where he leads a bunch of rebelling ogres, or he tries to lead them to their deaths. So it's nice to see that the Piper is getting some recognition in the fairy tale community, especially in Shrek. There's also a reference to Nemesis in the actual 10th movie of the Star Trek franchise, which is actually named Nemesis. And that's because in this movie, Captain Picard, faces his worst nemesis, am I right? Who's Shinzen? Something like that. And he's basically he's like Picard, except he's raised by the Regans. And it goes to show, if Picard was the one in Shinzen's place, then he probably would turn out the same. So it makes you wonder, the same way how Nemesis, the goddess of revenge, feels about nature, and how maybe genetics affects a person's personality, or something along those lines.